Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops.
And the beast that came through for the stoppage win. Jarrell Miller, you know, moves on. He's going to be very, very difficult to beat. Jarrell Miller, very difficult to beat. You know, I was talking to someone about his fluctuation in weight, and I think that he wanted to bring his weight down because he thought he'd be more effective. And I'm not sure about that.
He looked great.
Yeah, I think up at that weight, he's going to be very effective, and he's going to be difficult to beat. Was he 22, 23 stone? You know, if he's
17.
Yeah, but if he's we do stones. If he's walking you down, you better hit him hard. And if Jarrell Miller has a good chin, which I think he may, he's going to be very, very difficult to beat.
What did you think of the atmosphere here tonight in comparison to your shows in the UK? And did you get a sense from tonight's show that this can get bigger?
Sure. I mean, look, you know, it's all about building individual support. And you saw for the Miller-Adamek fight, the atmosphere was absolutely brilliant. I mean, we probably had over 2,000 polls in here tonight. You know, some of them left after the Miller-Adamek fight. And Vargas Delorme was a brilliant, brilliant fight. So, you know, I think that the atmosphere was great, but more importantly, it's about people leaving the arena and saying, I got value for money. I guarantee you there wasn't one person who left the arena who didn't have a good night tonight.
Hey Eddie, Rick Muhammad, Brawler Sports Media.
Yes,
AJ and Miller. Is that a possibility going to happen in 2019?
It's a big fight. You know, I mean, look, we want to make the fight that everybody wants, and we want to make the biggest fight in world boxing, which is against Deontay Wilder. So, but if they continue to not want the fight, then we've got to look at our options. If we fight in the UK, probably our choice is Dillian Whyte. If we fight in America, the absolute choice is Jarrell Miller. That's a big fight, you know. And Miller, like I said, he's gaining credibility. He's staying active, and he's you know, he's becoming a real force in the division. And I'm not sure that there's many heavyweights that will beat Jarrell Miller.
Eddie, what do you say to when people kind of roll their eyes at the December 1st deadline for Wilder? Because people say, why in your right mind would you negotiate before the fight? I mean,
there's no such thing as a December 1st deadline. All we're asking is to open talks for Wilder. When you've got an advisor or a manager that is refusing to have a conversation about an undisputed heavyweight world championship fight, fans have to be thick if they think Joshua doesn't want the fight. How do you expect to make a fight when the advisor won't even have a discussion about it, not even a cup of coffee?
When's the last time you talked to Shelly Finkel?
He emailed us about 4 days ago. He said, we're not interested in meeting. We're not trying to get the fight done before December 1st. We just know that if we start negotiations after the December 1st, it's not something, we know the relationship. It's not going to get done in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's going to take time. And actually now, I've had some positive conversations this week about the fight because I've had to remove it from Shelly Finkel because the relationship is so bad. You know, originally I got my dad, who is 70, and Shelly is, 80. They've got a combined age of 150, which is a lovely thing, to have a chat because they're old school and Shelly doesn't like me. But he's even lost the plot with my dad. So we've had to remove Shelly Finkel out of the picture and go our own way. And we've made some good progress this week. We're not saying you have to do a deal tonight, tomorrow, next week. We're just saying, let's talk about it.
Is there truth to what Wilder says, though, that you move forward a little more cautiously when it comes to making a Wilder fight because of the power he has? And
mate, he's just fought Alexander Povetkin. He's just fought Vladimir Klitschko. Let's just wrap this up in terms of credibility and legacy and records. Joshua has had 22 amateur fights, 22 professional fights. He's beaten Povetkin, Klitschko, Dillian Whyte, Dominic Brazil, Joseph Parker, Carlos Takam.
Hell of a resume.
The list goes on. 22 fights. Deontay Wilder was fighting, I think, Jason Gavin or someone like that. I don't even think he got to Jason Gavin yet. So we're well ahead of our time. He's a unified champion. He's got 4 belts in the division. He's a #1 heavyweight, second to none. He sold 320,000 tickets in his last 4 fights. Deontay Wilder was collapsing on the floor when they found out they'd sold $1 million worth of tickets in half an hour. If we don't sell $5 million worth of tickets in 10 minutes, I'll have a heart attack with Anthony Joshua. So don't worry about Anthony Joshua. The truth is I think the whole thing was orchestrated. Frank Warren was involved in the so-called 50 million offer that they never sent a contract for, and now they end up fighting Tyson Fury. Joshua Wilder has doubled his profile on the back of using Anthony Joshua's name. I would do exactly the same thing if I was Deontay Wilder, because no one else knows who he is. So use the guy who's one of the biggest stars in boxing to promote you and to improve your profile. And he's done a brilliant job. And Wilder against Fury, if it happens, is a really good fight to find out who the second best heavyweight is in the world. It's not a fight that people are crying for. The one they're crying for is Joshua Wilder, and we must make it happen.
But given how much big fights like those usually marinate, is Wilder Joshua more realistic for the second half then of 2019
Really.
than April 13th?
I mean, it does get bigger and bigger, but someone could lose. You know, you saw when you fight people like Povetkin, you know, Fury. The only way Fury can beat Deontay Wilder is just to bore him to sleep, and just to hold him and frustrate him, and like he can't knock Deontay Wilder out.
Does he have the legs to still do that?
Probably not. I mean, he's not fit, he's not ready, but it's, you know, it's happening. So, but ultimately, you know, the Wilder Joshua fight is a barn burner. It could go either way. We know that. But when you've won multiple world titles, when you've unified the division, what else is there to do? Joshua's about legacy. Joshua's a winner. Joshua wants to knock Deontay Wilder cold out, and he will. Trust me.
Eddie, Shelley claims that he's not meeting because they haven't received a real offer.
Shelley,
has he defined to you or anyone what is a real offer? What would signify a real offer?
Well, a real offer, they reportedly and via email agreed to our offer of $15 million. By the way, with a one-way rematch. Okay? So all of a sudden now, this offer was so bad, yet they agreed to it in writing. We've then gone back and requested a meeting. They've said no. You have to make an offer. So last week we made an offer which was a percentage split with a minimum guarantee with a 2-fight deal.
Oh, wow.
If Anthony Joshua wins, Deontay Wilder still gets to fight him again in America. Okay? Now, whatever they think of the deal, they've said still, we're not interested in meeting. So that tells you everything you need to know.
What's Al Heyman saying about this, since it's Shelley Finkel? Because, you know, he got Al Heyman.
Well, Al
as
Heyman
an
doesn't really
advisor.
say a lot, you know. But ultimately, he's a bright guy. I'm sure he wants to make the fight.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to him because we can't make any leeway with Shirley Winkle. So, you know, the move now is for us to try and make the fight elsewhere. But you have to understand, you know, when people say, oh, they don't want the fight, all we continue to do is try and make the fight. Like, it'd be easy for us to wait now. If we didn't want the fight, why would we even want a meeting? Like, you think really we're that bothered about people's opinions?
Right.
We want to try and make the fight. Otherwise we could say, okay, we'll wait to December and see how we get on. We can't wait till December.
Yeah.
We've got mandatories coming up at the end of October with the WBO.
Yep.
The fight's going to take a month, 2 months to try and negotiate anyway. So why not have a conversation? Cup of tea, cup of Rosie Lee, as we call it. You know? So, you know, I mean, it's madness.
What do you think of Canelo and Rocky Fielding?
Obviously, Rocky Fielding's our guy, and it's a hell of an opportunity for him.
Absolutely.
He's fighting one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. He's right up against it, as anyone would be fighting Canelo. The good thing for Rocky Fielding is the size. He's a big super middleweight. So he's coming off a great win away from home, but he's stepping up to a whole new level in this fight. I think that it's a good fight for Canelo because obviously he's had a couple of back-to-back wars and he wants to move up in weight and do something a little bit different, which is trying to win a world title. So it's great to be involved in that fight, and although Rocky Fielding is the champion, you know, we want to thank Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya and Eric Gomez for the opportunity, because although he's defending his belt, he's been given the opportunity to fight one of the biggest names in the sport. And for Rocky Fielding, a guy from a council estate in Liverpool, you know, I couldn't be happier for it.
What network is the fight going to be on?
You'll find out soon. Everybody's in it. Everybody's in it, and we'd love to bring it to the zone. You know.
Do you have an update for October 20th?
So Billy Joe Saunders will have a hearing with the Massachusetts Commission on Tuesday to determine whether he will be licensed for the fight. The WBO have already confirmed numerous times that if he's not licensed by the commission, he'll be stripped of his title. The number two challenger is Walter Cowton Dokwa, easy for you to say, from Africa. He's 19 wins, 18 knockouts. He's signed an agreement to fight Billy Joe Saunders for the to fight Andrade for the vacant title. If Tuesday they rule that they won't license him and he's stripped, he will fight the next available for the title. I think it's 50-50, to be honest with you. I mean, I can understand some of the arguments from Billy Joe Saunders' side, but I can also understand that he failed a VADA test.
So it'll still be October 20th.
100% the show happens. Demetrius will be fighting for the world middleweight title regardless. Katie Taylor will be defending her world title. Tevin Farmer will be defending his super featherweight world title against James Tennyson. Galahad against Clary, final eliminator for the IBF. Tommy Coyle, Scott Quigg on the card as well. Daniel Yelusinov. We've sold a load of tickets in Boston, and that fight is 100% happening. That card.
Can you explain how quickly those negotiations with Canelo came about? Because really, no
Really
one knew
quick.
too much. No
Really
one knew
quick.
too much about it. And we left the weigh-ins and we saw an announcement.
Yeah, so I got a phone call. Where are we? Maybe 10 days ago. Well, I got a text from Eric Gomez saying, "Can you talk?" So I thought, oh, it's always nice to get a text from Eric Gomez saying that, because it's obviously something interesting. And he said to me, "What's Rocky Fielding's plans?" And I said, "Well, we're looking at our first event." And he said, "Would he fight Canelo at Madison Square Gardens on December 15th? And when I dropped the phone, it took me a while to pick it up, and then I said, "Of course." And we negotiated very quickly. You can't, it's always your job to get the max for your fighter, but you can't be too greedy in that instant, because it's easy for them to turn around and go elsewhere. So we spoke to Rocky Fielding, we spoke to MTK, we came up with a package that we wanted, and you know, we got it. And you know, again, it's like a dream come true for Rocky Fielding.
How's your guy win the fight, Eddie?
I'm okay. He wins the fight by trying to use his size. He can punch very hard. He's got a lot of confidence, but he's fighting the best pound for pound fighter in the world. So he's a massive outsider. But I promise you, knowing Rocky Fielding, he won't quit. He'll stand his ground, and he'll try every second of the fight to try and beat Canelo.
And last one for me, Eddie. What did you think of HBO closing store? Obviously, it's actually good news for the zone.
Not really.
But
No, not really. Not really, because I'm not.
But they're 45 years and everything.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of bitter people in boxing because it makes you bitter, right? I haven't been in it long enough to get bitter yet. Give me another few years, I'll be horribly bitter. So I want more people in boxing. I want more money coming into the sport. So there will be people that when the HBO news come out, we're like celebrating, you know? But for me, when there's a brand like that so synonymous with the sport of boxing, having HBO in boxing is good for boxing. It's undeniable. So it's a sad day. But we also now live in a world where the market is so competitive and so brutal that if you haven't got deep pockets and you're not prepared to roll up your sleeves and fight and spend and hustle, then you might as well leave, because you're not going to be a player. And I think that's what HBO have done. They've looked at the market, they've looked at the money that's in the market, they've looked at the, you know, the way people were manoeuvring and how aggressive it was, and said, I don't think we can be major players in boxing anymore. And if we can't be major players, we're going to step back. They'll be back. They'll be back. You know, it might be in a digital space, but HBO will be back.
And actually, I did have one more. Because Jesse Vargas, he might still be the mandatory.
He should be the mandatory. You know, Mauricio Suleiman will follow the rules and know that the winner of a vacant title should fight the first available fighter as a mandatory defence. That's Jesse Vargas. So we're going to be doing everything we can for Jesse Vargas to fight Sean Porter for the WBC title next year.
Does that have to happen on DAZN in order?
No, listen, I would never deny one of my fighters an opportunity to challenge for the world title if the deal was right and it was on another platform. But we'll get it on DAZN instead.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.